So when we're trying to write an equation, either sine or cosine, for a graph that's given to us, we definitely need to take into account several things, all right? First off, we know that in general, our equations are y equals a sine b x plus c plus d. We already know that. Okay, that's the general form of it. Of course, sine and cosine are interchangeable, all right? A is the what? Amplitude. D
is the vertical
Translation.
vertical translation, up or down. C, horizontal translation, and B
kind of your cycle.
is deals with your cycle. It affects your period, how it's changed, okay? So basically, when you're trying to write an equation, you're basically trying to figure out, okay, what are A, B, C, and D? Sometimes C and D can be zero, okay? However, A and B always are going to be some number, okay? Because if it was zero, then we wouldn't. If A was zero, we wouldn't have a function, and if B was zero, we wouldn't have a function. Okay, so that's why A and B would have to be some numbers. At least it could be one. So, easiest thing, actually, teach is on where you start. But I would say that probably your vertical translations and stretches, your A and your D are probably the easiest to find. Okay? A is your amplitude. It's the distance from your midline to a max or your midline to a min. Okay? What's that distance there?
Oh no, two, yeah, two.
Two? Are you sure?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
No.
That's one way you do it. Another way you can do it is look at the y value of your min and the y value of your max. Okay? Not the difference. Not the difference in sum. What's negative 7/2 plus 1/2? Okay. Our amplitude is positive 3. Amplitude is always the absolute value. Okay. Now, whether or not A is going to be negative or positive, it all depends on what type of function that we're writing. Okay. We'll start with sine first, since I already have that up there. Okay. So for right now, we know for sure that A is 3. We'll come back to figure out if it's going to be positive or negative. Okay. Now, did it move up or down any? It moved down. How many units? Negative 3 over 2 gives it to you right here. Okay? Now, you'll know if the graph moves up or down is think about it. Okay, I need that equilibrium line, that midline that basically cuts my graph in half, okay, or splits the distance from my max to min in half, okay? That is my vertical shift. Everyone okay up here? Now, what's my period? What's the period of my function? 4 pi. Because before it starts to repeat itself, it goes a total of 4 pi units. That is my period. So then to find my b, I said 4 pi equal to 2 pi over b. Cross multiply, divide, and b, yes, is 1/2. Is everybody okay up to here? Where we getting these numbers from? So far, so good. We're almost done. Okay? We still have to figure out if A is going to be negative. But last thing we have to do is our phase shift. Now, where does sine normally start? 0, 0, and then it goes up, right? I don't have a point of 0, 0 anymore. Remember, the whole graph got shifted down 3 halves. I still don't have a point there. But I do have a point right there.
So then you make the negative 3
And normally sine goes up, but because it goes down, it got flipped, which means that A is going to be negative. And what is my phase shift? And why is it negative pi? And move to the right. So to represent that move to the right, it would be a minus. Sarah, then here's.
Instead of saying it flipped, couldn't you just say that it got
You could also say plus pi if you decided to use this point, but if you did that, A would have to be positive.
And it wouldn't be pi.
And it would not be pi, it would be,
The number over two?
it would be some number that we don't know. So your safer bet would be,
Using a number that you have.
exactly. And there's your sine function. Questions or two? Now, the beauty about doing cosine is if you've already done sine, a majority of your things are going to stay the same, such as your amplitude, the vertical shift, and something else stays the same.
Period.
Your period, your B. So we're pretty much
Set.
Halfway.
a little more than half. Okay? Where does cosine normally start?
Of one.
So it's just a point.
At 0, 1. Okay? Now the graph did get moved down, but did it shift over any? So I could have closed in this space a little bit more.
Where do you put
And there's your function.
You need to put plus 0, 2 also. Since we have the space already there.
There's your cosine function. Okay? You're going to try some on your own, on your whiteboards, okay? I want you to write a cosine function for this graph. All right, so cosine. I know I have y equals a cosine b x plus c plus d. Did I have any vertical shifting? No. So I have no d. Did I have any horizontal shifting left or right? No. So really, I only had to figure out what a was and what b was. What was a? 8. Last thing to find is b. Several different ways. You can look to see where it completes one full cycle, which is from here to here. Unfortunately, that point isn't labeled, so you can't really use that. I mean, you try to sit there, try to make an estimation. I don't know how successful that might be there. Okay? You can also go from max to max and figure out that distance. Still, don't know what that value is. Go min to min. Fortunately, I don't know
Either value, even worse.
either value there.
Like, can't you do 2 cycles?
And I can try to do 2 cycles. Let me see.
Don't know what that is.
Still don't know what that is. However, I do know that I go through. Go ahead, Harrison.
You go through 3 cycles of pi, so you just divide it by 3, so one cycle is pi over 3.
One cycle is pi over 3. B is, but hold on. One cycle is pi over 3, so our period is pi over 3. So that means that 2 pi over b has to equal pi over 3. Cross multiply. And b is 6.
That graphic, yeah.
Okay?
Matthew, shut up. That was 2. That graphic, yeah.
Another way you can do is look at it is like this. You know that a normal cosine, it has one cycle from 0 to 2 pi. And like you said, it takes 3 times to get to pi. So that means I have to take 6 times to get to 2 pi. So then b would be 6, because that's how many times it takes to get to 2 pi. Yes.
You said that there's no vertical translation, but cosine always starts at 1, but here it starts at 8.
Yeah.
True. The y value is getting multiplied by 8. If we look at our maximum, which is located at 8, and our minimum, which is located at -8, that would again be giving us 0. 0 divided by 2 is 0. Our amplitude is 8. I didn't move up or down any there. It's still the same distance from the equilibrium line of 0. Okay? So let's do another one. This one I actually want to see. Let's stop.
So anytime like I'm not sure what I'm doing, I can just put not.
For this problem, A represents your amplitude, and it is 2. Okay? It is 2. This. So A is 2. C represents that vertical shift, which it did go up 1 unit. So C was 1. Here's that midline, that equilibrium. Lastly, your B. What's the period here?
I give it
It's pi. So you have 2 pi over b, cross multiply, and divide, and b is 2. So 2, 2, 1. Let's do one more before the bell rings. A represents your amplitude, which is
-1.
amplitude is always positive, so it's 1. But it is sine. It got shifted up 1 unit, and since it goes down to start with, A is indeed negative.
They won't laugh at me. That's right. That's why you got it
What is your
wrong.
period? Pi. So 2 pi over b, b would have had to have been 2. Your homework is going to be 3 more like this that I'm going to put up on Google Classroom because it's the rest of the other 3 that we would have done in class, okay?
We'll see.
Alright, so you're going to get 3 more. So you have 1, 2, and 3. They're all IB type of problems, so that's why you guys are going to have the homework.